Hey there! Welcome to the Robert Budd Show. And I really want to thank you for listening. If you are a return listener, thank you so much for coming back and listening to more. And if you are a first-time listener, well, welcome to the show. I really appreciate it. So what I do on the show is I seek out those who I already know that I find interesting in various fields, and I interviewing like what I'm interested in is what makes the person who they are today. What experiences have they had? Who's their mentors? What do they do to keep up their busy lifestyle? Whatever it might be, I just kind of dig into their life, and I never know what comes up. So in this episode, I talked to Serena Cuevas. And Serena and I have been... excuse the train. There goes the train. This is real life, folks. Like life is happening behind me. So Serena is from New York City, and she has been dancing ballroom and Latin club dances for over 17 years. In 2007, she created Deseo Dance. And Deseo Dance is a styling company representing the United States worldwide. It's so they're exclusive ladies styling company whose mission is developing a learning environment which allows for all women to express their passion, their power, and confidence to the level of their desire. This is really great because we talked a lot about this, empowering women and even dance couples in their dancing. We talked about this in the interview. So over the years, Serena has competed in some of the most prestigious competitions, including ESPN World Salsa Championships, World Latin Dance Cup, World Salsa Summit, Puerto Rico World Salsa Open, the World Mayan Bachata Championships, and the Australian Latin Open. She has also performed and coached in over 60 cities worldwide and continues to work with those committed to enhancing Latin styling in their communities. So some of the places where she's danced, she has been on Dancing with the Stars. She has danced in the 2012 Australian Latin Open champion. She has been the 2012 Australian Latin Open champion. And some of the awards she's gotten is International Street Latin Judge, and she's a Puerto Rican World Salsa Open solo finalist, the World Salsa Summit Cha-Cha finalist in 2013, World Salsa Summit solo finalist in 2013. There's way more. I'm just going down the list. So I'm going to stop talking and let you guys listen to this. It's really a great interview. I think it's really great. And so without further ado, here is Serena Cuevas. All right, cool. All right, so here we are. Thank you so much, Serena, for being on the show. Welcome.
Robert. Thanks. This is so formal. I feel like it's so serious.
It is. We are on Zoom, and we're literally face to face with each other.
Face in front of my face.
Yeah, eyeball to eyeball. So for the sound check, I always ask people, "What did you have for breakfast?"
What if I don't want to answer that question?
You can make something up.
I'm just kidding. I had oatmeal.
That's it? Just oatmeal? No, plain?
Oatmeal. Is that a good sound check?
Yeah.
Yeah. That's it. Boring. No. I totally know. Sorry.
No sweetener, just like oatmeal, water. That's it?
Just oatmeal, water. It has blueberry in it.
Oh, it has blueberry in it. Mm-hmm. Okay. So that gives a little bit of sweetness because I'm like, oatmeal and water? No milk, nothing?
No.
Any in particular reason why you have that first thing in the morning? And is that what you always have?
It was just today because I'm trying this company. I kept the label because I really liked it, but I saw it in a cafe the other day that I was with my dad in, and I was like, oh, I'm going to buy that and try it because it's a small business, it's like a mom and pop kind of company. And it's just like, good for the environment, all those things on the packaging. And I really wanted to look into them because I like supporting those kind of businesses. Mm-hmm. And then I'm like, I had it and I was like, is this good? Yes, this is really good. Now I want to buy a case of it and just have it in my house. But so that's why I just had that today. I need to see like how I feel. And I just like to do that with products and not confuse my body with, like really see what's taking care of my body. Like, is it that one item that I had? Does that make me feel good? And I think doing some work with Marissa and doing work with Lindsay has totally brought me to be conscious about that, because before I'm just like, oh, I'll just have 6 things and whatever. But now I'm just thinking about it. And anyway, that's why I had that one thing today.
Cool. So there's a couple points in there. So one is Marissa Molina, and I've had her on the show, and so I'll put the link of that in there. And so her is like, I learned a lot for myself just interviewing her on how I interact with food, just how I interact with it, and I interact it with fuel. Just getting fuel in me. Rarely it's for the taste. It's just I feel good, I perform better, and stuff like that. And Lindsay is totally different. So with Lindsay, how she interacts with food and how I interact with food, it's like she grew up with not having a whole lot, and I had an abundance. So I'm like, okay, I'm just going to stick to this certain dietary because I don't want to get fat. And she's like, well, I didn't have a lot when I was a kid, so I'm just going to eat like every meal is my last meal. And she loves all of it. Like when you ever hear Lindsay eat,
yeah.
And all
right. I'm
like, oh, criminy.
She's all in love.
Yeah, seriously. So how can you tell if you give yourself a certain amount of hours afterwards before you eat something else to see how you feel?
I try to notice when I feel hungry or if it's just a craving. Like if my brain is just like, oh, I feel like having chocolate, that doesn't mean I'm hungry. It just means I'm like sensing and feeling like I need something. So I just try to notice the difference between a craving and actually having hunger as a need. Like I need to fuel my body for something, or because it's recovery from some training I did or whatever. So I try to just notice the difference, because before I would crave something and then eat as if I was hungry.
Yeah.
But I'm not. I just kind of needed maybe to subdue that craving, but it's not, I don't need a whole meal of that. I don't need like a bowl of chocolate, which might be awesome. But yeah, so just noticing that.
What is it you said before? When is it before what? Like how long ago, or is this a new thing? Like,
maybe like 2 years.
Oh, okay.
I think before.
Was there a turning point where like, okay, I need to really start to pay attention to what I'm eating, my cravings, my diet, stuff like that? Was there a point for you?
Oh man. I'm trying to think when that was, because there were a few different points, but one of them really did stem from a conversation I had with Marissa some like long time ago. I know that happened. And then more and more of my friends I noticed are vegan or vegetarian. And that really sparked a lot of interest in me. And I didn't really know why I was really interested in it, but I was. So I started learning more about it and watching more videos. And my friends would send me all these things. You need to watch this, you need to watch that. If you're really up for it and you really want to make a difference in the environment or whatever, then just watch the video. You don't need to change anything about your life or about anything, but please just watch. And then I thought, God, they're like so committed to this. I'm just trying to have a cheeseburger, but yeah, watching the videos and stuff was next, and really getting educated. And then Lindsay. And then I hired Lindsay in like, I don't know, the end of the summer last year, I think, something like that, for 6 or so months. And that's what like really tied the bow, because I had it like, okay, I'm already educated and I know what I want. Now I brought her on to help me prep meals that are actually going to support my goal. in being vegetarian, or like I was still eating fish at the time, so pescatarian, and then now just veggies and transitioning to a vegan lifestyle and all of that. Working with Lindsay made that difference because I had no idea what the heck to do. And I'm sure I could Google it all and look it up and do all that hustle. But with my job, working as many hours as I do, the last thing I want to do is now go do work for myself. Like, I'd rather hire a trainer to work with me and just show up to the appointment and like have somebody tell me what to eat, and then I'll eat those things. And as somebody, I trust, that's really looking out for me, and that like coach relationship really works well for me. Like, love that. Are you vegan or vegetarian now? I'm vegetarian.
Vegetarian, working your way. So you want to?
Yeah. I mean,
vegan?
I do. I've just learned, a lot about what that is and what it really means. And that it really is an entire lifestyle, right? Like all the things we wear and buy. I mean, everything from makeup to clothes to cleaning products, like anything that you can use. You want to know if you're interested, right? You would want to know, did that come from an animal byproduct or product, and how was it made? And if it's something that you eat, like, I want to know. I know for me, I want to know, what am I putting inside of my body? Like, what is that? Because my body is everything for me, for my job. If I don't have my health, I don't have anything. I can't take care of my parents then. I couldn't, have a family of my own. I couldn't take care of my students, do my passion, open my studio. Like, there's nothing I can do if I'm ill in bed, right? So, and I really want to live a long time and keep doing what I'm doing and be healthy and be like, just like dancing great grandma. And that's just how I see my future. And I really connected the two, that I can't, that's just literally impossible if I'm pumping my body with poison, and it's just my context for it. It's like, is that going to serve me, or is that going to hurt my goals of living a long time and providing for others? So yeah, I'm in that transition.
Yeah. If you were introducing yourself like at just a casual party, and somebody said, what do you do? What would you tell them?
For a living?
What do you do?
Well, I own and operate a dance company in San Diego, and I'm about to open a new location in Eastlake in Chula Vista, San Diego. So that's what I do. And I think, like, in a real conversation, people get the idea that I teach and I choreograph and, all those things. I compete, I travel, I manage the business, I blah, 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 blah. Right?
Well, that would I'm sure they would tease that out as you.
Yeah. We were like, oh, tell me more about that. I'm like, okay.
Yeah. So, I'm just curious, because when people ask me, like, what do you do? Like, oftentimes I'll say I'm a personal trainer, but it really doesn't give the whole context of, well, like, what do I do?
You're super badass, Robert. Like, that's like me saying, oh, I teach dance.
Right. Yeah.
Which is true, right? It's true, but it so diminishes who you are by saying I'm a personal trainer. Not that that's bad. It's just that you have so much more and you've done so much more. It's like, I just want to say that.
So that's why I asked, because there's a depth to it, and how we, communicate to somebody that we don't know, or just meeting them. Do you want to, come off, like, how do you want to be perceived and stuff like that? So I was just curious, like, how do you introduce yourself at a party or something? Men and women, I'm sure it would be different, like how you introduce.
Yeah, and I think the context of it, like if I'm at a dance event and I'm introducing myself, I'm really like using the jargon,
Yeah.
And people can really get that. Or if it's just like a regular chill friends party or something, that's how I introduce myself.
Yeah.
Because then people I have a dance company and I'm opening a dance studio, and it's transition time, right?
Yeah. I mean, that's huge. I mean, we were just talking offline, before we push record, and then running a dance company, a whole, like you're going to compete this weekend, you're going to Las Vegas and compete, and your awesome nails just show that you're ready for a competition. People, they've got to see these nails. And so, and there's like shit that happens, you want to talk about that. Like if anybody is out there thinking about doing this for a living, or starting their own company or whatever, do you want to give them a little taste of the day in the life of what it's like?
Sure.
You can do whatever details you want. I mean, there's some breakdowns, but you can,
Yeah, I'll just share a little bit about that. Well, the underlying factor for me is that it's insanely fulfilling. Okay. So what I'm about to say, that's the disclaimer. What I'm about to say, just know that it is insanely fulfilling for me. And that's why I do what I do, despite all the things, the things that happen. But yeah, so I teach private lessons. So I work one-on-one with a lot of people and couples. And that's one of the things that I do. And sometimes in those sessions, couples are having their moment. Somebody's right, and you're not leading me. And, well, you should have followed that. Well, you do your job. Well, that's not what you said yesterday. And, oh, man. So, there's that side of it, kind of like being the therapist, I guess, or just like a space for people to let it all out, but also have fun because I still have to produce results too. And so there's that element. And then there's group classes where it could be, it could be 4 people, it could be 24 people. And I'm always out to deliver new content, have it be fun, have the energy be great in the room. And people just leave there like, oh, this is totally worth it and amazing. And I want this in my life. Like, I want to have this be a regular thing for me, or a second home for me. And that's always my goal in the group classes, like leaving people just like, yes. And sweaty. I like to make sure people leave sweaty. They burned some calories and did something good for their body and their health, not just dance like, to take it easy, but to actually do something health related. And I have so many people, so many clients, that are doing dance as their supplement of fitness in their life. So anything about cardio or burning calories or repetition, and like they're in, they want to do it. They're set up for that. That's what they want so bad. So anyway, I like to bring that to the group classes. And then my favorite element is the teams. There are others, but team is my favorite. And that's just a group of people who commit to 6 to 10 months of training, and they're preparing to go to an international event, like what we call a salsa congress or a dance congress. And at those events, there are workshops and classes and shows and competition, and it's just like thousands of people and amazing. So the one we're going to tomorrow is in Las Vegas. So the group that's been training has been training for, approximately 7 months, and they're doing fabulous and they're really excited. And in that group of 18 people that are going to Vegas, I'd say about 50% of them are brand new newbie dancers that, we started from scratch. So it's just so great to see them come out of their shell, and like, when is my costume going to be ready? And they're just like so excited and alive. And I love that. I really, really, really love that. So there's that. And then we have a handful of people that are on that same team that are really seasoned and just so excited. They're leading the group. They're in the front. They're helping people 3, 4, 5 days a week, helping others in practice. Like, it's just so admirable. And that, as a coach, for me, is like the ultimate acknowledgement, to have my students teaching the next generation or the next season even of students. It just like, I can't even be with it. Like, I'm going to cry right now. So it really makes me happy to see that. So that's what goes on in the team is there's a lot of bonding, and partnership and friendships and all that stuff happens. And then we have the little dramas, right? Like this morning, day before we fly, my lead, my lead couple, the girl went into emergency surgery this morning for her appendix, and she will not be going to Vegas, obviously. So she's been in a ton of pain, and she just randomly went to the emergency room, and they said, "You're going to surgery right now," life threatening, right? So her husband, who's her dance partner or fiance, excuse me, he's there with her. So he called me and told me what's happening. I'm like, okay, got it. Health first, handle the business, and, be with her. And if for some reason you decide you want to come, great, we'll work it out. And if not, just let me know by tonight and take care of her. So we might have to make some severe adjustments, and it's okay. It's part of that business, and keeping everyone focused, like everyone else on the team, especially the newbies who might be scared to death because their leaders are kind of not there anymore, or actually not there anymore. It's just going to be something to take care of in the next few days before their Saturday show, but it's all good and it's part of it. So, those are just some things to look forward to if you want to do this. It's so much more than delivering content. Let me tell you, you're not a staff person on somebody else's company. When it's your business, everything is your business. How they're doing, how their marriage is going, how their kids are doing in school, how their finances are. Did they move? Are they selling their home? Did they just get promoted? Are they pregnant? All these things, whether you like it or not, whether you want to know or not, it's going to go to you. Like, you're just going to know about it because people will just share with you what's going on in their life. And a big part of the job is that personal relationship, that personal touch, which is also my favorite element. So I don't know how many, I think I have every element is my favorite.
There's so many like little pieces in there, like all the stuff that you said. So I'm going to kind of chunk it out.
Sorry, I talked so long.
No, it's so great. For the biggest thing that I got is like the huge carryover. This goes into, any business, whether, you're the CEO of the business, like, look, you get into people's business because it's your business. And, right. And when people are like, oh, it's personal, it's business, and trying to separate it, it's like, really, you're accountable for their happiness, kind of, while they're there, what they produce, and how and if they're, whatever their personal life is going to crap, then it's going to be hard to produce in their, whatever you can say, quote unquote, their professional life. So that's really cool. Right. People can get, whether they're dancing or running a company, this really carries over. And the other thing is having the core, this makes you happy. This is your passion. Like, try to run a company if you're not passionate about it. It's just, that's just not gonna work. And so you mentioned your dad, and so I was reading, when you're 11 years old, your dad just taught you. Is that when you first started dancing, or did your dad start to teach you dance steps before that, and you just started taking lessons at that time?
So I was 11 when my dad was at home, and he has these like LP records and 78s. He has everything. But he was playing these old school salsa records in our home. And I was 11 years old, and I heard the music, and I was like, I don't have any moves. I was just like doing this. Yeah. And then, which if you can't see, he looks like the robot. And then I was like, Dad, show me those moves. And he's like, okay. So he holds my hands, and he starts like leading and guiding my feet in specific directions and then to the tempo. And I was just apparently getting it. I remember this a little bit. My dad tells this story fabulously. You should totally interview him. He's amazing. Yeah. So so yeah, so I started that moment. And then after that, I would just kind of dance in the house. And I noticed that my mom was practicing something. And I was like, what is she doing? And turned out she was taking ballroom lessons. So one day she brings me to her lessons. And first I sit out and watch. And then eventually I end up taking over those lessons, training in ballroom. I trained in ballroom for 6 years, as well as for Argentine tango for 6 years. And then I did hip hop, jazz, ballet, and pom in high school, all throughout high school. And when I was 17, I auditioned for my first professional dance team, which was a salsa dance company here in San Diego. So that was going from New York, being in San Diego. I know I didn't talk about that, but so yeah, 17, auditioned for that team, made the pro team. And from that moment on, I can't go back to amateur. Like once you're pro, you're in. So I was really messy with my movement and I didn't really know a lot, but they saw I had potential, and I'm so thankful that they took me in, because that was the beginning of a real platform for me. And being on that team and the next dance team that I was in inspired me to do this as a business, because I saw it can work. And I saw, gosh, I'm in college and I'm in the Army and I'm doing all these things, but I love doing this. I love dancing and teaching, and I started teaching and all that. So I love that so much that in 2007, at the end of the year, I started Deseo. I started my dance company. In 2008, we came out formally. And that's how it's been since then.
Was it when you went to your mom's lesson? Was it at that point you're like, this is it for me? Like, this is, what was it at
that like moment that I felt in like my entire body that this is it was actually on a cruise ship when I was 13. It was my first performance. And
on a cruise ship? You're 13?
Yeah. I was doing the talent show. I know it sounds like totally wacky. So yeah, I was doing the talent show. I wasn't like child labor. Like that. Weird. No. Okay. So it was like my family, right? My aunt and my uncle and my cousins, my parents, my brother. And then I was taking the dance class with the ballroom teacher, and I was like, ooh, he's cute. And then my mom says, why don't you ask him to do the talent show with you so you can do the talent show? And I was like, oh, yes. So I did. And he said yes. And then the ballroom teacher, the lady, she was like, oh, I'll give you this clothes, this dress, these earrings, these shoes. I was like,
oh gosh.
So I felt like, a princess, right? And oh my gosh, I have one photo from that trip, from me on that ship. I don't think I have it right here, but
you have to send it to me. I'll put it up on, that'll be your picture for this podcast.
I'm like this. Okay. So, his name was Manuel. Okay. So we did, of course it was. What else would it be? So we performed to a Gloria Estefan song called Mi Tierra. And, we just did like really basic stuff, right? Basic steps, a little turn, something else, a little turn, dip, ta-da, maybe 1 minute, right? Maybe. And then the moment people were clapping at the end and I was just there, I had never experienced that before. This like stadium-like room and lighting and feeling so much love and appreciation. And it's just a performance. But there were two things going on. I was so proud of myself, and I was feeling like people were so proud of me. And I just was like, I have to keep doing this. Like, this is amazing. I want to keep performing. I love being on stage. I love being in that like character. And that was the moment.
The moment. That's great. Yeah.
Totally messed me up.
What do you think that did for the impressionable young 13-year-old girl with, I mean, I'm going to assume, you know, you got image things going on. I assume for myself, I know I did. And so like, what do you think like that did for you for now? Like how that molds you like that?
I think it kickstarted my confidence. I mean, that's what I see, because after that, I just attacked things in my dance life as a teen, when usually I would, not usually, but before that, I don't remember myself as that. With volleyball or with whatever else I was doing as a small child, I don't remember being that way, attacky, or going after things real hardcore. But after that, I was like doing ballroom privates and doing Argentine tango. I was at Milonga socials for, God, like every week, maybe twice a week. I was doing ballroom.
What's Milonga? I don't know what that is.
Oh, Milonga is it's the term for a social dance. Like with salsa, we just call it social dancing. Like you go out to a club and you dance with each other, mingle and dance while music's on, social dance. And in the Argentine tango world, that same view, that same scene is called a milonga. It's just a name for the get together where people dance and play music. So I would go to those. And then in high school, like 14, 15, 16, 17, those years, being on a dance team, you have to audition first off, and it's intense process, hundreds of dancers, guys, girls. And I just was like, I got this. I don't know where that came. That must have, I mean, I think that came from having already done that show when I was 13, feeling like ahead of the group, even if in ability I was totally poop. But I had that feeling, right? And that's really what matters in these auditions, is the character and the passion that people have. And I started just leveraging that. I noticed it, and then I started using it because I really got like, oh, well, I'm like just getting out there, and I might not have a quadruple spin with my leg up in my ear, but you know, I'm having a lot of fun, and look, I made it. So yeah. That's
great. Now, so you're on this dancing path and you're on teams and stuff like that. So where did the Army come in? Like, why did you do that? And like, for those who can't see, she just did a double bicep pose. Hey. Super Wonder Woman.
Hey, Wonderina. Yeah, I always wanted to be in the military. I mean, that's just what I remember. And growing up with a lot of boy cousins, playing sports and being around the little Army guys and playing like that, having an older brother. And I think it was just always in my life as a possibility. Oh, well, that's an option. And my dad was in the Air Force. My uncle was a colonel in the Air Force. My brother went to ROTC Air Force. He didn't continue, but he went for it. You know, he went in a little. And living in San Diego, being around Marines everywhere, male, female, recruiting offices everywhere, it's just kind of around. And I felt it in my senior year of high school, like, all right, I'm doing this. I don't know if I want to go straight into school. I know I want to leave home and do something on my own. I had that independent bug for sure. And I wanted to get out, I wanted to make money, and I wanted a sure thing. So college seemed scary, like uncertain. I don't have the money for that. I don't know a lot about grants, and like I just wasn't doing the work to even think about figuring that out. And so I was really passionate about the military, and I thought, I'm just going to do that, and I can still go to school, which I did end up doing. But yeah, that's what happened with that. And in March 2003, I signed my enlistment, or it was my birthday. And then right after that, I did my enlistment. And in June, like right around the same time of my graduation from high school, was my party for leaving for the military. It was like the same week. And didn't tell my mom. I just signed my enlistment papers and came home and was like, I'm in the Army.
Oh, God.
And you can imagine my poor mother's face. And my dad was like, yeah. And my mom was like, So, but yeah, I loved it. I loved doing it. I totally don't regret it. I love the Army. I'm crazy about the military and everything the military provides. And I'm also very happy to be out because I love immensely my career now, and being able to travel freely and, be in character, if that means like on stage, nails, hair, makeup, be creative with myself. In the military, you're just restricted on how you can be, even how you can just be in public, even when you're not on duty. There's a lot of rules and things like that, which I have 100% respect for. That just wouldn't work with the kind of lifestyle I want to have now, and the kind of influence I want to have in my community. I want to be inspiring for people in a creative and a free and an independent and a passionate kind of way, not in a, follow the rules, do the things, law and order, yay kind of way. I had that time. That time is just over. So I did 8 years in the Army as a military police corrections officer. I was deployed. I came home and I'm out.
But why the Army? For one, I thought it was like 2 or 3, 8. He had 8 years in there.
Yeah.
And why'd you pick the Army when, Camp Pendleton, the Marines is right there?
I went to the Marine Corps recruiter first, but I don't remember the exact conversation, but it was something about they couldn't guarantee, or they don't, I guess, guarantee your job placement.
Yeah.
You do certain testing and then they're going to let you know where you're going. Mm-hmm. And that could have been the recruiter I spoke with. So I don't want to speak on behalf of all Marines, because I don't know. I just remember that was why I said, well, I don't want to do this because I want to be military police. So can you provide that? And they were like, no, we don't know, but we can do this for you. And I was like, no, I want to know I'm getting this job. And I had already done my ASVAB testing and things that you do anyway, when you're going in. And so I didn't understand why they couldn't, but anyway, that was it. I just was like, okay. And I went next door to the Army recruiter and I said, so this is what homeboy over there said. So what about you guys? And they're like, not a problem. Of course they were like, not a problem.
Yeah. Why MP?
Fished me in. Why military police? Because I love law. Law, the rules.
So you love the rules.
I love structure and standard and doing the right thing and, justice being served. And I love Batman. And, though that kind of an influence has been in my life for just a long time. And it's just what I believe in. And I believe in providing security to those who provide security. So infantrymen and anybody who's out there doing the fighting, they need to be secured as well. What about when they're back on the camp? Who's watching their back? Mm-hmm. Well, military police is watching their back and each other, but that's one of the jobs as a field MP is to really have each other's back. Everybody that's in a combat zone or just convoy security. I mean, there's just so much bond and so much have your back, and it is life and death. It matters so much that you're fully functioning and you're just present and your training is just on point and your body's on point and blink and life goes down.
Any crazy stories that you
Want to share?
I do, but I don't. But I'll tell you, I was stationed in Guantanamo Bay, and your brain can do whatever your brain wants to do.
Yeah. All right.
Yeah. So, yeah.
So, as a coach, as a instructor, what makes you different?
What makes me different is my real passion for results. And my view of results, or my, I guess, definition of results, is I'm not all about technique and the visual of results or the score, right, in competitors. But for me, the results are so about your experience. Like, if you are proud of yourself, right, like I was when I was 13, if you're proud of yourself and you feel developed, you feel like you've broken through something, or you know what I mean? Like, that matters to me. So I give a ton of hands-on attention, even to people in a group class. Like that's really where a lot of the results gets produced, because first off, people feel really important, and they are. And in a group class setting, usually that doesn't happen, because somebody's in front of the room just delivering content, blah, blah, blah. And you're in the class like, oh, did I do it right? And nobody's giving you feedback. That's not the teacher's job. The teacher's job is just to deliver content in 60 minutes. Bye, rotate, next class, right? And it's like the bottom line of the job. So I don't do that. My company does not do that. We give hands-on attention and individual critique, and like positive and negative feedback, but we let you know what's happening and what's working and what you can improve on in group classes. So that's what makes me really different, is that's a priority for me, that you feel the results, like as an experience. So that's that sentence, right? But the next thing I want to say about that is there are plenty of dance companies, one that I have in mind in particular, that are just so beautiful, like so amazing and incredible technique, and like, 45-time world champions, and like, it's amazing. And I love them so much. They're dear friends of mine. And I love seeing that. That just doesn't drive me, like what drives me is, well, how does that person feel? Like, they may look incredible. They're a machine out there just killing it. But what is that like for them? That they train 8 hours a day, 7 days a week, getting no sleep, blah, 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 blah. What is that like? It's great to be first, but how is it really?
Right.
And so I've just learned that over my years competing, that what matters to me is, what was it like? How was the journey? Who did I train with? Who coached me? And how inspiring was I to my students that I was competing, and all these things that like impact who I am, and how just the journey of it. And then at the end of everything, whether I take first or last, like, am I proud of what I did or not? Because that trophy and that placement can only define me so much. It just really only can define me so much. Okay, so in that moment, against those people with that judging panel, that one run through that I did was that score compared to those people, right? And then I got on a scale. So I just, that right there, I really teach, I really share that with my competing students, so that they get the value of the experience and the journey more than the medal or the trophy or the placement. I've been in first place many times and just felt like garbage. And whether I didn't do a good job, but I still got first, it's just like, ooh, That was like so not first place. But because they were kind of average, I guess I got first. So here I am. It just doesn't feel good either, right?
Yeah. Yeah.
So, and then I'm not proud of that video that just got blasted all over social media. First place, blah, blah, blah. And I'm like, ooh. And I have some others that I take second or ninth. And I'm just like, that was awesome. And I had so much fun. And like, I was killing it. I was high energy. But yeah, the first 8 girls did like backflips and all these quadruple spins, touching their ear, right? With their foot to their ear. And mad respect, totally. That's just not who I am. So I was still really proud. I'm still really proud of who I am and what I produce. So that's what makes me different is I'm about the results and as a person's experience.
Yeah. Well, I just got so much out of that whole thing because the times that I have felt that the best, how I felt the best, I didn't necessarily win or even placed or anything like that. Or even inside of workouts, like I'm so tough and so competitive with myself.
Yeah.
And sometimes I walk out of a workout going like, man, I feel like dirt and I smashed everybody. Or I feel like, okay, well, I just got my butt handed to me and I feel great about it. It's your experience. Like I just did a 4-day workshop with a bunch of coaches and I could say I think I was the oldest in the room, and I was comparing myself to 20-something-year-olds and like, I should be able to do this. I should be able to run as fast and jump as high and blah, 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 this kind of shit. And, but I just went at it like, okay, I'm going to do my best and get something out of it. And then I felt great. And at times they were like, all right, old man, check you out. That's really, really great. But I mean, I got so much out of it. And even in competing, it's like, oh my gosh, like there's some times where I just totally bombed, but I felt good about myself because whatever I put into it. And there's sometimes that I, got first or second or whatever. And I was like, I don't really feel that great. It's like, oh, okay, whatever. So that's super great. Well, who inspires you either as now or in the past?
Great question. Well, my parents really inspire me because my mom is for my parents, I am first generation American born. So that just like so matters to me. My dad was born here, but my mom was not. And the whole rest of my mom's family also was not in the past. So
say where she's from.
My mom's from Guyana, which is a West Indian country in the Caribbean. Well, it's actually in South America, but it's considered part of the Caribbean. They were there like 3 generations. And before that, her family is from Iran and India, Pakistan, over there, like that kind of part of the world. And my dad's Puerto Rican and Italian, but born and raised in New York City. Hey! And that's where they met, was in New York. So my mom came here when she was 15, along with the rest of their family. So they really inspire me because they're both not college graduates. They went to trade schools. My mom went to fashion and design school and became a fashion designer she worked for like Christian Dior. My mom was bomb. And then my dad was a graphic artist and he was freelance. He's completely independent, but he went to art school. He did all that, in the 50s. My dad went to school and he also went into the Air Force and did that. So it's just like inspiring for me to hear both of them really come from, I don't want to say poverty because that's not true, but like really come from, I don't have anything handed to me and I need to work it out. And they both really did. And I'm proud of them that they didn't follow the systematic structure of that. I have to go to school and I have to get a degree and then I have to blah, 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 like the A, then B, then C system. And They were like, oh, I'm really passionate about fashion. I'll just go to fashion school and then get a job, learn these things and do those things. And my dad did the same thing. I love art, go to art school, boom. And the military paid for his art school. So they really inspire me. And that's why I think my brother and I did the same thing. Although I studied geology in college, I quit. Not quit, but I was literally in class one day and I got the message from my agent in LA saying about this opportunity to be on TV and for Gatorade. That whole thing had already happened, and this was like a follow-up thing. And I was like, okay, he says you need to come tomorrow. And I'm thinking I have a test tomorrow. So it's be in school or it's do this thing on TV. And I was going to be on TV. So I talked to my teacher and they were really not flexible about it. And I said, look, I understand and I'm not going to be here. Okay. So I left, and that was the moment I made that my priority. And unfortunately, of course, my grades were starting to go down, and I just thought, okay, let me just stop. I'm just going to stop and own it. Like, if I'm doing this, I'm just going to do this right now. And I did. So side story, but yeah, so that, and my brother did the same thing. You know, he didn't go to university, or he did for some period, then he quit, and he's now a graphic artist, doing what my dad did, but now on computers, not cutting paper by hand, right? Amazing. So my parents really, really inspire me in that way, like that I know anything is humanly possible for ourselves in the world of careers and opportunity, especially living in America. Come on. So that's that. But my dance inspiration and heroes are obviously so different than that. There's a couple from Puerto Rico named Tito and Tamara, and they are they're just everything that I wish I could be, but in my own way, like my own version of that. Is just like, they really bring to light what's possible dance-wise. And Tamara has a ballet background. I think they have some ballroom background, but no matter what, not just their ability, but who they are as people, who they are as a married couple, who they are for their son, who they are for the entire dance community worldwide. You know, they're the head judges at the competitions. They're some of the most, they're a couple of the most educated people in dance in our industry, period. Like, they lead salsa history classes and workshops to share with the next generations about what this really is, where it comes from, who the names of the people are each generation. They have things that are timelined, studies done, like all of that is compiled into these workshops that they lead. And I love that. I love that they're not just 1, 2, 3, 5, 6, 7 being amazing, but it's on such a deeper level. And God, that's like so awesome. So
and say their names one more time.
Tito and Tamara.
What are their last names?
His last name, Tito's last name is Ortos, and Tamara's last name is Livolsi.
Cool. Just so I know their name, I put their links and all that kind of stuff in the show notes. Yeah.
Yeah,
awesome.
They're just fabulous. So fabulous. So, yeah.
What's your predictions for the sport? Like, how do you see it in the future?
Yeah, I see. There's been a lot of fusion in the last 20 years. Definitely the last 10 years, but I would say since 2000, a lot. But just in the last 10 years, my God.
Fusion, what do you mean by that?
Fusion means like other dances are put into, or other dance movements are put into. So if you imagine a move that's like totally balletic, like a total ballet move, like this arm position right here, and you're like, oh, I'm a ballerina, yay. And then you see a salsa couple dancing salsa, doing all the traditional movements, and then all of a sudden they do these turns, and you're like, wow, that's like standing ovation quality right there. Then like in competition, you can only have a certain percentage of fusion, whether it's 10, 20, 30% fusion. So as a choreographer, we have to know the rules of the comp and then design for that competition, and then total up the number of seconds and find the percentage of how many seconds of fusion we're infusing. So
what? I would never have known that. That's so great. Wow. Okay, go ahead.
It makes sense, right? Some percentage, and then you need another percentage, so you need to do the seconds.
Yeah.
So then what I want to say really is, I hate to like dog on the new generation, but I'm going to, because it's actually factual. Like I mentioned earlier, the dancers, let's say some soloist is doing all these backflips and wild and that's great. That's just fusion. Okay. That's not salsa. That's not a specific genre. What it is gymnastics. It's beautiful. It's probably perfect technique gymnastics. It's just not this dance. So when you put ballet turns, gymnastic backflips, the robot, whatever, into your salsa choreography, I mean, okay, cool, but it's just not this dance. So in the last 10 years-ish, it's kind of getting watered down, and that's my view of it, okay? Maybe some people are like, well, it's getting so much more alive, and wow, we have backflips, wow. It's becoming more wow factor. It's becoming more entertainment. It's on television more. It's on this and that. Yes, but the percentage of authenticity is so low. So that's cool that we're getting more business because of the TV stuff, and the competitions being televised or being put on ESPN and all that stuff. That's awesome. I love that development of it. For me personally, I prefer the authentic side. So I'm not going to do that. And I'm going to compete for a couple more years. So I'm just not going to do that. And I don't mind to take second place or anything else. I just want it to be legit for me, for who I am. And for me, it's really representing it's just really representing the dance, what this really is. It's salsa. It comes from these kind of movements. It comes from these kind of traditions. It comes from this type of rhythm and this type of rhythm and this type of rhythm. And like, you want to know that and get educated and schooled in what that is, not just mimicking movement and then fusing and then competing. There's just no depth to that. And that is what's winning. So, either get with the times or peace.
Yeah.
I don't want to get with the times because that's inauthentic for me. Right. And I teach that to my students and my clients, and they see where I'm coming from. And a lot of them love the fusion. They love that. They're new generation. They don't know the difference truly. Right. And they just love it. And I empower that. I'm like, great. And I will choreograph it that way. If somebody requests that, fabulous. And I do. And that's fine. Just like for me, I was just speaking for me. And so that's how I see it going. I see it really continuing to get fused. And then my opinion of that is that it really waters down the authenticity. And I'm not a fan, but if that's what puts us on TV and gets us into, eventually the Olympics and different things like that, like it's very athletic, this dance and this as a sport. I mean, people just have no idea what it takes really to train to actually be a dancer or be a professional dancer. Just have no idea. So it's great that that's being put to mainstream and it's being commercialized. And I love that part of it. So I'm willing to take some of the water down for that, but don't water it down too much, people. Stop with the backflips. What are we doing? Just put a couple basic steps in there for me. Huh? 1, 2, 3, 5.
You have pretty much, it could have been verbatim what I have said about the fitness industry and how it's watered down, it's flashy, it's entertainment, stuff like that. It's not like,
it's not legit.
It's not legit. And I'm all about that's just inauthentic for me. It's great for others, and I interact with a lot of young trainers, personal trainers, coaches, and stuff like that. That's what they're into. I think that's great. And if I want to stay in the business as a certifying instructor, you kind of have to go with it. And I tell them flat out, this is this is tried and true. It's been around for 100 years. So this is what works. Other stuff is entertainment for now until you give me, another 50 years of results that it's producing. But that's pretty much, you just recreated me. What are some of,
right. Twins,
we are twins.
I'm just short. Sorry, I came out short, homie. But I got the tan, though.
We're just not identical twins.
Oh, yeah, we're fraternal.
Yeah. What are some of the myths that are in the culture that you would love to put an end to?
Bust.
Yeah.
Mythbusters, salsa. Oh, wow. Some of the myths. Well, a lot of them are visual, but I'll just show you, I guess. So one of them is that shimmying is salsa.
Oh, yeah. I think people know what shimmying is. You take your tatas and you shake them around.
Hey, but it's not. Okay, that's a myth. It's not just shaking the fatty boobs. Okay? It's actually a shoulder isolation, forward and back. And then as a result of that isolation, all the business gets shook around. But anyway, so that's a myth. But, sometimes people are like, oh, you dance salsa. Good for you. And they go like this. Hey. And they make, if you can't see.
The visual is great. I'm going to try to describe it. Kind of like the running man with a little shimmy.
Yeah, it's like choo-choo train arms to the side, like you're making circles of a choo-choo train, and your legs are kind of going down and up and down and up, and then you should be there. Yeah, and then people go, "You do the salsa? I know how to salsa." And it's just so cute. Like, I love people, and I love that they do that. I think it's hilarious, actually. And that is not salsa. Stop it.
Cut it out.
So knock it off. And, right, they do that because that's what's on TV. Boom. For real. That is why people do that. That's what they've seen. And it's in a lot of movies. And it's even in movies that personal friends of mine who are world dance champions choreograph.
Yeah.
But they're choreographing it because that's what's wanted. They're like, I'm just doing my job. And I'm like, yeah, and it's making us look crazy. I said, well, that's what the producers want. And that's what this person wants. I'm like, oh, wow. I'm like, yep, they got to do their job.
Yeah.
And I get it. And then there you have it in these movies. Hey, this salsa. So yeah, I guess that's like a little mini myth. Mini myth.
I'm going to be looking for that from now on.
Dude, any movie that has a salsa scene, unless it's the new movie that came out, The Latin Dream, which you should totally link to this. But if you interview, or when you interview my friend Adrian, he's in the movie, The Latin Dream.
Latin Dream.
Yeah, that's a new movie that came out. It just came out only in Europe so far, I believe, from Milan. Anyway, those are the leading dancers in the world from previous generations and current generations, all as cast members in this dance movie. So it was designed around this man's I mean, I don't know how true the story is, like the movie story. I think it's movie. But yeah, it's really around the star, Fernando Sosa. It's really around him and the different dancers and their lives and what happens and the drama and what it's like being in competition and stuff like that. So that movie actually busts a bunch of myths because you can see like everything's just so legit. Everything's so authentic. If you had any misconception about this job or this industry or the competition world, then that's going to get squashed in that movie. So
watch that.
Yeah, watch that. I haven't even seen it yet, but I know a lot about it because like the whole cast are people that I know very well. But I just can't wait.
As a pro and a world champion, what do you see as the biggest novice mistake?
Assumption.
Yeah. Say more about that.
Assumption. Okay. Well, if you're a let's start with a soloist like myself. If you're a soloist, a person who competes by themselves, and you are assuming that you just choreograph and you just get out there and do it, or you think this is going to be easy, or you think, oh, just do what I've been doing. I've been successful. I'll just do the next comp. You cannot assume anything. Okay. Every single show, every single competition is so important that you act like you don't know anything. Okay. You want to know about the stage. You want to know about the sound. You want to know, the rules, the percentage of fusion. You need to know the length of the track that you're allowed. You need to know what the costume regulations are, what the heel height regulations are for the females. Are you allowed fake ponies or not? You need to like do your work researching. When you assume and you get out there and you've done all this work and you get out there and you wearing a fake pony, let's say, this is my pony, but you're automatically disqualified, for example. And it's just like so not worth it. That's such a rookie mistake. Like to see people do that. I'm backstage at a comp. I know no fake hair, right? It's like, let's say it's in the rules. No hair pieces. It'll say something like that. Great, fine. Everybody natural. And somebody's got a fake pony. You can either say something and help them out, or you can not say something and also help them out. Because they're new and let them learn. So then it's the mom in me wants to tell the poor girl. But the coach in me says, F no.
Yeah.
That's her fault.
Yeah.
Read that thing. So sometimes I just have a conversation, like this time I had a conversation with her. I was like, oh, are you new here? Nice to meet you, blah, blah. Just like have a quick chat. And I said, oh, did you read the rules? Have you competed here before? She's like, oh yeah. And she just sounded really like, I hate to say this too, but I'm going to, she just sounded really like know-it-all. Okay. Like,
I got this.
I got this. And so then I was like, oh, cool, great. Hey, good luck. I'll see you later. And I was like, I'm telling whatever. And that's the nature. That is the nature of the comp. Okay. So we are competitors.
Yeah.
I have a love and a compassion for brand new competitors, and it's like so in my heart to push and train and develop these people. Like you can't even believe how passionate I am about that. And to help and mentor and nurture. And then I see that and I was like, let me try to say something. But then that happened and
forget it.
You know what, whatever.
Yeah.
Assumption. I mean, that's just, don't think you know something, homie.
What about on the flip side? What is the biggest pro mistake that you see?
I think a lot of pros do the same thing, think that they know.
Like get comfortable, or they already.
Yeah, that's what I was going to say. Yeah, it's just assumption on the other side that I have so much experience and so much confidence. I know that one of my biggest weaknesses is comfort, and that I feel so at home performing that I'm like, oh, I don't need to practice as much.
Yeah.
Ooh, that's like totally my number one weakness was my reps, the number of reps I get. And I know how many reps. I know what I need to do. And it's really challenging unless unless I schedule time with a coach or even a friend just to like watch me and hold me accountable. That's when I honor my reps and what I know I need to do, to prep for a competition properly. So yeah, very, very, very easy to fall in that trap of comfort. Same thing, assumption, like I got this, but yeah, it's the other side of that.
Well, I've talked to a lot of business owners and interviewed them, and you've said a lot of the same stuff. What the novice business owner would do, or the novice trainer, or the novice. They assume they got this. They don't do the research, and then the pro is like, oh, they don't do the research. They don't stay up with the times. They kind of fly by their name.
Yes.
Yeah. So. There's a lot of commonality, and I'm just super interested in that. That is like, it's almost like it's the truth, it's like, if that's always goes on, you can just say, that's no longer my perception of it. It's like, how much more evidence do you need? And it just kind of shocks me that people don't take it, they're like, oh, I got it. So,
right.
I got a question for you. So if somebody was to teach them, here's another. I got a couple of them for you.
Okay.
If there was money on the line in 8 weeks, what would you do with somebody to take them from zero to hero?
Okay.
So, how do I want to put this? So, what would you put in and what would you take out? So, you would have to cut the fat, obviously. What would that be?
Okay. I'm not sure I really understand. So if I have 8 weeks to train someone who's brand newbie, zero to hero in 8 weeks, and we have every day if we wanted.
Yeah. Let's say it's somebody getting ready for a movie or something like that, and they cannot dance. It's some dude that is just like nothing, right? What? And he's got a movie. He's got to shoot for Warner Brothers in 8 weeks. What would? Yeah.
Well, and what's the question? What would I do?
Yeah. What would you do? What would you add? What would you stick to? What would you cut out?
Well, I have experienced this many times with wedding couples.
There you go. That's good.
Some of my wedding couples are so awesome, and it's like May, and their wedding is in next March.
Yeah.
I'm like, I love you. They're fabulous. And then other people are like, my wedding is next Saturday.
Right. Yeah.
Wow.
Perfect example. Yeah.
Yeah. And, some of those people, we don't even really take them on. We just do like basic dance training, and then hopefully they can just do some basic steps. We just do privates. We can't even do a real choreography. Poor things. So, but anyway, 8 weeks, I would say. So if you're having a wedding and you're doing a wedding dance, be prepared. Talk to your wedding choreographer. Like 4 months is great. 4 months is a great amount of time. 12 weeks is bomb. But let's talk about 8 weeks and this Joe Schmo brand newbie. I would say a lot of it is understanding. A lot of it's just like getting in the right mindset. So if a person can get in the right mindset, then they can produce their best results. So that would be what we'd really probably spend the first day or two doing, is talking about talking about their goals, kind of having them understand the music, understand the timing, what are they listening for, start like moving really basic. But if they can get in the right mindset, like, okay, this is what we're in for. What are we going to cut out? Like as a we, and like, we are on this mission. These are the results, the movie or whatever, just like creating all of that. And getting them ready. I mean, they're going to have to do like training with their body, like to get in shape if they're not. Yeah. And then we have to do everything from understanding how to listen to music to understanding how to move your body. Then separately, the third thing is how to put those two together, like hear and understand and move in sync with the timing of the music. And then we can start some choreography for the cool movie. Yeah, it would probably look like something like that. It would be 7 days a week for sure. Yeah, even if the seventh day is short and like review. Yeah. But I like to have my people at least, even if they can't make it to a rehearsal or something happens and like this couple now that's in the hospital that I have, anything, they could still be watching the video and doing mental practice. Like, I don't care if you're on an airplane or you could practice in the aisle, but wherever you are, if you can be present to a video for a few minutes, that makes a difference. Those are reps. So even if the seventh day each week is mental practice and them re-explaining it to someone else, which also helps in their growth and development of their learning the routine, I'd probably bring in another newbie and see if that newbie can teach the newbie. And that helps them to kind of regurgitate the information and see if Jane Schmo can deliver. Yeah. And learn that. So that's what like a seventh day would look like. But 6 days a week, it'd be on them in the seventh.
So no gymnastic moves, no...
Yeah. You know what? When people have that as a strength, like one of my girls, Olga, she's bomb. She's a super gymnast, right? From a long time ago. And she loves that. And she's going to be doing gymnastics in our routine. She's going to be doing these back bends and walkovers and crazy tricks. I'm like, wow. And I saw it. I was like, do you want to go to Vegas? She was like, yeah. So anyway, really amazing things that I like to leverage in my student routines, but not in competition, just in my student routines. And they have fun.
Well, I know you've had Lindsay and I watch a video, and it's interesting that you bring this up because I'm working with a company now. It's called Ecos, and it has the same sort of technology where you put the VR system on, and you watch just 1 7-second clip of how to do a move, and then you practice it in slow motion. You go in speed, and they've shown dramatic results, one in sport and one in like stroke victims and stuff like that, how to repattern and move again. So that's really interesting. There's going to be a whole nother, could be a whole nother show on that. Yeah. Well, one more question. So you mentioned that you would have them watch something. So what if somebody can't get to you, or you can't get to somebody, like say you're learning something, you're learning from another coach or something like that. Right. What could somebody use for themselves, and what have you used for yourself when you can't get to a coach?
We do virtual training, I think, like you with your clients, whether it's Skype or Zoom or whatever.
It seemed to be the best thing.
That's the best because it's still semi in person. There's still eyes on in the moment. It's different than send me a video of your practice. Yeah. Which is the next best thing. And there's nothing wrong with that. Sometimes you just can't coordinate the time difference, 19 hours ahead, New Zealand or whatever. I do that with my students in New Zealand a lot. And they just they send me the video and I watch it. I write or record my feedback. Okay, at 1 minute, 6 seconds, that's, you need to straighten out that line and make sure your back is fully pulled like this and make sure blah, blah, blah. And then at 2 minutes, 21 seconds, this. So, I think video, like the technology we have today is like perfect for all of this. But your body needs the physical repetition. So if it's you need the reps. Your brain can get the reps, but it's your body that needs the reps of the actual motion to really learn it at the depth that you need to do it, to do that thing on stage. So if you want to be able to do that thing on stage, then you got to do that thing off stage.
Who do you learn from?
When I can, I train with Tamara, Tito and Tamara.
Yeah.
One of my other heroes, I mentioned about the movie, is Fernando Sosa. I love him. And I think that Fernando is less like, I rarely have had the opportunity to work with him one-on-one. He doesn't, I don't think he trains people one-on-one anymore, but he, just following him, like who he is and everything he's doing for the community, and, his transition becoming vegan, like all that happened some time ago. Just he's so inspiring for me. And I love his academy. I love what he's done with his dance companies, his school, the business side, just the bringing it to the big screen, like doing the movie. God, like he's been very connected with the quote right people to do projects like that. So I really admire all the work that's taken. That doesn't get handed to anybody, and I'm clear about that. So I know it's taken a lot of blood, sweat, and tears. So like, super respect for him. And he's someone who does a ton of fusion. So, but his fusion is authentic. So if they have hip hop in their routine, that is like amazing, hardcore, badass hip hop, and all their dancers do it at a professional level. Those moves. If they have a gymnastic move, then those dancers who do that are actual gymnasts as well. They do that. If they have a flyer, that guy that's in the air is a flyer. And then when they do salsa, they are all professional grade salseros. So to me, come on, that's like the most intense, beautiful thing. Nothing in my view gets watered down there. That's where I think it's like, quote, done right. If you're going to do fusion, then you better be a master of all those things you just fused. In my view. Write that down. But for real though, you better be a master. So Fernando is really inspiring to me in that way. In the business way, I think more than anything, because his business just, I could spend a whole hour telling you about it.
Sounds like that was so great. Well, I'm going to put him in the show notes and all that kind of stuff too, so people can find him. What would, if you could leave people with something, what is something, what do you want to leave them with? Like what would be the, whatever, something inspires you, or like your mantra or something, what do you want to leave people with?
Wow. I don't know if this inspires a lot of people, but it inspires me, and it really inspires my team when we turn to each other or something's happening. You can feel the energy in one person kind of dropping, or an insecurity. You can just like sense things, or we can sense things among the team, among each other. And we just say like, no quitting. There's no quitting here. And there's just no quitting. And for me, there's no quitting at following my passion, following my dream, or it could be the number of reps I'm doing, or it could be anything, but there's just no quitting here. It's just like not what we're doing here. We're not doing that. We're doing these things, and there's just no quitting. Yeah. So I don't know. I think everyone takes that differently, but in my dance company and in my teams and with my competitors, that's a very real and to the soul sentence. And they're like, I'm ready. I can feel when they're getting funny, and I'm like, there's no quitting. And they're like, that's right.
It's awesome. Yeah. That's great. Well, there's a million of questions I can ask you. I mean, you're like a dang onion, right? Just keep peeling peeling stuff back, but that could be for another interview. And so where can people find you?
The best place to find me is on Instagram and Facebook. So that's perfect. And then soon you can find my website, but not yet.
Okay. What's your your call signs on there?
So for now on Instagram, my Instagram is Serena Cuevas. And on Facebook is just my name, Serena Cuevas. Yay.
Fabulous. Well, thank you so much for being on the show. It's so great to have you, and you just mean so much to me, and you've inspired me, and you've been a major part of my life, and I just love you dearly, and thank you so much.
I love you, Robert. You're welcome. Thanks, everybody, for listening.
All right. Bye-bye.
Bye.
Until next time. Oh, before I go, everybody can find show notes and linkables, and anything that I can find the link will be on the show. And until next time.
Peace out.
Perfect.
You're going to need a call sign. You're going to be like, until next time, RB. Or whatever.
Something to that effect. Until next time. Until next time. I'll have something for you.
Bye.
Bye.
All right, and that was Serena Cuevas. Thank you so much, Serena. I enjoyed it, and I hope all of you enjoyed it. One more thing before you guys go. If you would like a short email from me once a month, going over all kinds of funky stuff that I dig up, whether it's different books that I'm reading or different ways that I'm dabbling in eating, things of that sort, it's free. It's once a month, and it is chock full of great information. And you can find that. You can sign up for that if you go to RobertBudd.net. And it's you can drop your email where it says, "This is not a newsletter." Put your email in there. Also, if you would like to check out the other podcasts and show notes for this podcast, go on RobertBudd.net/podcast. And you can find all the things that I linked for this show and other shows right there. So once again, thank you so much for joining us. And until next time, I still don't have a closing. I still don't have anything. Gonna have to make something up. Until next time, keep it real.